Hetepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh Ma Keparu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, we're going to present 100% proof that the ancient Egyptians were black Africans. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe bell to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you want to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you. There's no obligation, and you can cancel at any time. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So, namaste, grand rising. You know, I remember going to school when I was a very, very young boy and never being taught anything about my history. And consequently, I developed a low self-esteem because I thought white people did everything, that white people were the most morally upright, that they were the first ones to invent mathematics. In fact, all of the inventions were done by them. Later on, as I was taught by men like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and Chancellor Williams, check out the Diop, I had a 180-degree turn. I began to realize that I had been lied to most of my life. And this lie was perpetrated by all aspects of society in terms of, you know, I would pay money to go to university, and the university would basically indoctrinate you into the same ideas, which was the basis of which were white supremacy. You know, so you're literally paying to be brainwashed, to be told that your race has not contributed anything significant to world history. And that's an absolute lie. An absolute lie. And you go throughout your life not realizing to the degree of this lie. And as we study more and more, it's like an onion. You start to peel back different layers, and you discover how great our ancestors were. And it just doesn't stop with ancient Egypt. When you start looking at world history, you start seeing how what they call people of color at one time ruled the planet, were the first ones to create civilization, were the first civilized people who charted the stars without telescopes. But I don't want to go into that right now. What I do want is to present to you 100% proof that the ancient Egyptians were black Africans. Now, I talked about before, this lie is being presented by all aspects of society, and one of the things that we'll have to contend with eventually is not just academia, but it's Hollywood. Hollywood perpetrates this lie to the bitter end. And in fact, we find that many Egyptologists are now folding. They are beginning to see through this lie. And they have taken the mantle and started to teach that the ancient Egyptians were actually black Africans. So kudos to them, because to do so is to be ostracized among their peers. But these individuals are spearheading a revolution, a change in the way that we see the ancient Egyptians as no longer lily white people, but black people. So I want to present to you something that's really, really quick and gets to the heart of the matter. This is Sigourney Weaver portraying an ancient Egyptian in the film, I believe, Exodus, Gods and Kings. And this casting couldn't be any more wrong. Here you have Lily White, Sigourney Weaver, who I respect as an actress. She's a wonderful actress. She was in one of my favorite films, Alien and Aliens. But here you have her portraying an Egyptian woman. I mean, this is atrocious. In the same vein as Elizabeth Taylor playing Cleopatra. And I want you to note something else too. Whenever they portray the ancient Egyptians in these Hollywood movies, they also depict black people, but in the background, as you can see here. You know, they pepper them in the background while the foreground is with your main actors and stars is all white. Now here's the proof. And the proof has been out there for years. Many Egyptologists have hid it. Hollywood has ignored it. But Hollywood has a long history of racism going back to D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation. But we're not going to talk about that here. But yes, Hollywood has known that the ancient Egyptians were black Africans. And I want you to know that. To see the proof of this, that the ancient Egyptians were black Africans, one only needs to Google the hieroglyphic for Egyptian. If you Google the hieroglyphic for Egyptian or face, you will see the hieroglyphic in the way that the Egyptians depicted themselves. And here we are. That's the hieroglyphic for face. That is the way the ancient Egyptians saw themselves. Broad nose, big full lips, wide face. This is how the Egyptians, again, saw themselves. So much so, they created this hieroglyphic for face. Now, when you look at this individual, does he look like Sigourney Weaver? Or does he look like a black man? Do you see? This is how the ancient Egyptians saw themselves. So much so that in their writing, their sacred writing, which we call the Meduniter, they included a hieroglyphic for face that looked like them, which is, without a doubt, a black man. Not thin lips, thin nose, white woman or white man. Our ancestors left behind a depiction of how they looked. This depiction here is not of a European man or woman. You can only surmise that it is a depiction of a black man or woman from Africa, a native African. This is bona fide proof that our ancestors left behind so that the world could see what they look like. So go ahead and Google that hieroglyphic for face, and you'll see this pop up. Because I don't like to get into a deep discussion or argument about what color were the ancient Egyptians, when the hieroglyphics, most of them are dark skinned. You can see that. Most of them have prognosis, which is the protruding of the lower jaw. You can see that in the Sphinx. And the hieroglyphic itself depicts them. I want to thank you for tuning in. This is Qesankh Ma'akeperu, son of Ma'at and Tuhuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.